I cannot wait for you to meet our guest today. His name is Elton. He is one of my most favorite people on the planet. And the reason why I love him is because he just has this simple wisdom. You ask him his perspective about any situation or anything going on in the world, and it's like, boom, that was exactly what I needed to hear. And as I mentioned, this conversation has been over a year in the making because first, Elton had to finish the fourth grade. And second, I had to get him out here. And so he came out to visit his grandparents, and I was like, Elton, let's make this a twofer. And so here he is. I have known Elton his entire life. I've been wanting him to be on the podcast. I cannot wait for you to hear the simple wisdom and the fact that he has all these little sayings that are actually tools, and you're going to want to steal them. The way he describes things in particular that kids struggle with, it's going to help your kids, and it will definitely help you. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to ask Elton a few questions. And as I ask Elton questions, I invite you and the people that you love who are listening along with you to answer these questions for yourself too. Because I guarantee you, what pops into your mind is going to surprise you. So without further ado, please help me welcome Elton to the Mel Robbins podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. I always wanted to be on a podcast.
Okay, great. So how old are you?
10 years old.
And what grade are you going into?
5th.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, Elton, is because you are one of my all-time favorite human beings.
Thank you. You're one of my at least top 5.
Top 5?
Top 5. You're on my Mount Rushmore.
I've never thought of it that way. That if you have a top 5, there's a Mount Rushmore of people.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
I mean, my mom and my dad, and then there's my friends, and then there's people like you who are just generally nice people.
So what do you enjoy doing in your free time? Before we kind of jump into the way you think about life in middle school and some of the things going on that you wish adults would know, I would just love for everybody to get to know a little bit more about you. What do you like to do?
So I like to play some sports, but I'm also a video gamer. So I play some Pokemon, I play some Super Mario, I play some baseball, some soccer, and then in real life I also play some baseball, some soccer, some football, and it's just really fun, at least what I think I'm doing, because I'm a people person.
Do you think you were born that way? Just always been that way?
Because I've always been very interactive. Even since I was 5, I was going up to strangers saying I like your shoes.
Do you think it's important to compliment other people and be nice to other people?
Yeah, because it's kind of like karma. Because
it's kind of like what?
Karma.
Oh.
If you don't share with someone, then they're not going to share with you, or they're not going to be kind with you. Because if I start picking on a kid, and they're not going to want to be friends with me because I'm picking on them. If I was kind to that kid, then maybe they would want to be friends with me. But if I'm not, then they won't.
That's true. So kind of what energy you put out there comes back to you.
Yeah, usually.
Usually.
Yeah. Well, because at least all I know, we only get one chance, and you got to make it good. Because if you just decide to be a jerk all your life, then what have you really accomplished? Because you're not being kind to people. You're not gonna have many friends, at least, and we know how friends helps your mental state.
Yep.
We know that, and so then you're gonna be depressed, and that just doesn't feel good, does it? So if someone doesn't be a jerk and they're super kind and they're going to have lots of friends, they're going to be invited to a bunch of stuff. Rather, if you're a jerk, nobody wants to be friends with you. You're not going to get invited to stuff because you're just going to be a party pooper. And you're not going to live life the way you probably want to.
Got it. And what do you think is the most important thing in life?
Kind.
Being kind?
Kindness. Yeah, because like that determines it all usually. Because like if you're not kind, then people won't want to be friends, and then that leads into a whole different story, and then you argue a lot, and then you're mad at people, and then you get mad at yourself, and then that leads to sadness, and like that's just not very fun. So,
You're a real deep thinker.
yeah,
What makes you truly happy, Elton?
friends.
Friends.
My friends. Yeah, like they are the nicest people I've ever met. And like they are just super kind, super supportive. Like they're into what I'm into, and like they were just so nice.
How do you handle the days where you're feeling sad or a little lonely?
How do I try to interact with not kids, adults. Like I try to like hang out with some adults. It's kind of like a safe place too.
I think that's a great idea. Do you tell people when you're sad and lonely?
I tell my mom and my dad, not like just random strangers, or like I don't tell like my uncle or someone. I tell my mom and my dad. Those are like my safe keeps.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. What do you think an adult should do if they feel sad or lonely?
Honestly, I would hang out with like younger kids because they don't know much, and so like even like shaking like this cup would like make them laugh.
Gotcha.
That laugh brings you joy because laughs are like contagious.
It's true.
Like happiness is contagious. If 2 people start laughing, then 4 people start laughing, then everybody starts laughing, even if you don't know what the joke is.
That's true. So maybe watch a funny movie or hang out with kids or volunteer or something like
Yeah.
that. What do you think people should do in order to be happier?
Well, I did this, and I do this. I go to therapy. Like I actively go to therapy, and like that helps a lot with my mental state, and it helps a lot with being happier. And then one more thing to be happy is I do this, but not a lot. Spend less time on your phone and scrolling, because what is that going to do for you? You're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling when you could have time outside, making new friends, playing, talking.
Tell me, are you comfortable sharing a little bit about like what you get out of therapy or why you went?
I just didn't feel happy because like I didn't have many friends, and like I was like getting a little picked on and like bullied, and like so I just decided to go to therapy, and it really helped in my mental state and really helped me be a better person. I still go because I know it helps me be a better person.
Wow. I mean, I go to therapy. I love talking to my therapist. It's one of the reasons why I'm a better mom and I'm a better friend and I like myself more because I have somebody that I can talk to
about like everything almost.
Yeah.
Like they're your safe person, like that you can just like let it all dump out.
Yeah. And sometimes I think it's easier for me. I don't know how you feel, but I think it's easier for me to just dump it all out with somebody that I'm not related to, you know, or that's not a friend.
Yeah. They don't know your friends, and therapists are really trustworthy.
Yeah.
Therapists are kind of like if you give somebody like a very dirty shirt, and after like 2 weeks, which in therapy is like a year or something, that shirt is going to be so clean.
You're the best. You're the best. It's true. Because if you keep it all inside,
if you keep bottling it up, then you're going to have so many bottles and you're just going to feel so sad because like you have all of this still in you.
Yeah.
Rather just taking some of it out. And like I know you might still want to bottle things up, and like you can bottle some stuff up, just not too much.
Yeah.
Like I have bottled things up and that hasn't hurt me, but when I bottled too much stuff up, that hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel more empowered?
I do. And like bottling stuff up, and this is a terrible comparison, but it's like eating grapes.
What do you mean it's like eating grapes?
You know how if you have too many grapes, your stomach hurts?
Yes.
So like if I'm going to have 6 grapes, that's okay. But if I'm going to have 20 grapes, like my stomach's going to hurt.
Wow. I think talking to somebody is an incredible way to figure out how to be happy again.
Yeah.
And how to get support, and how to get support from somebody that you don't feel like, oh boy, if I tell them this, they're going to be mad at me, or they're going to be, they're going to get upset, to know that I'm upset. So how do you think people should think about like going to talk to a therapist, or going, because I think, like when somebody's like, you should probably go to see a therapist, you're kind of like, what am I, like a big loser? Yes.
Yeah, that's offensive. Like, because like, it's like, are you saying something's wrong with me? Like maybe you say like, hey, everything feeling all right? And then they say no. And then you say, oh, maybe you should go to like therapy. Maybe I might go or something. So then you kind of like pin the blame on yourself while also pinning it on them.
Great.
So it doesn't feel like, oh, you need to go to therapy. It's like, instead of like,
how about this? What if you said, do you think it would help
if you went to
therapy? If you talked to somebody about how you're feeling?
And then they say, what, like a therapist? And then you say like, yeah, sure, whatever you think it'll help. And so maybe that therapist is like your mom. Maybe that therapist is like your aunt. Maybe it's your uncle. Maybe it's like your grandpa. But like, you have to usually talk to somebody about your feelings to make you feel better.
Absolutely. You cannot sit with the feelings and talk to yourself.
Because what's that going to do? You're not going to let them go and then they come back to you. You got to let them go to somebody, and then they fix it and they give it back to you.
Correct. It's like that shirt analogy.
Exactly.
And the other thing is that since the person that you're talking to has worked with and seen and talked to so many people that have felt exactly how you felt, they actually know you can get better.
Yeah, because they have experience doing this. Like
when you were sad, and I realize that your mom's a therapist, but when they were like, do you want to go to therapy? Were you like, what? Or were you like,
I said like, sure, like why not? And like, I didn't want to go the first couple of days because I thought it was like boring, and like, because all we had to do was talk about our feelings. But then I actually feel better, because what we do is, at least in my therapy office, we have this one game that we play. We play Guess Who while talking about our feelings.
Really?
Yeah.
How's it work?
So we play some regular Guess Who. We play like, does this person have orange hair? Is this person a male? Like, but in between the turns, we talk about like, so how's blank been? Or how's
school been?
Yeah. So like, you kind of shove it in there with the games.
Sneaky. I like it.
Yeah.
That's good. And then so as you're like chatting about something else, you all of a sudden find yourself just chatting about how you feel about school too.
Exactly.
Super smart strategy. Is there anything else that you've learned talking to somebody who's a therapist about yourself, or?
Well, I didn't talk to a therapist about this, but last year I was diagnosed with dysgraphia.
Oh yeah, and I believe, Oakley has it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Oakley has that.
It's a language-based learning.
Yeah. So like,
difference.
I have to like, I can't really write as well.
Me either.
So like, I get to type and like voice type, and it just really helped me, because at the beginning of the year in 4th grade, I was like skipping class, not because I was a bad kid, because I couldn't learn, not because I didn't want to, because I couldn't. Like, I physically couldn't learn. So like, my teachers just thought I was like a bad kid. And so like, they misjudged me, is what my mom said. But then at the end of the year, I got diagnosed, and they were like, "Oh, so that's what's wrong with that kid."
Well, it's not even what's wrong.
It's what's like the difference.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge difference between I can't learn and I don't want to learn.
True.
Because if you can't learn, then like yes, you want to learn, but you like can't. There is no like, oh, I'm just not gonna listen. I'm trying to listen, but like I can't.
You know what I love about what you just said? I've never heard anybody say it that way, but you're right. I can't learn based on how you're trying to teach me.
Yeah.
But if you change the method of the teaching, it's easy to learn.
Yes.
And do you know that Oakley
went to a dysgraphic and dyslexia school, right?
Yep. And he was diagnosed in the 4th grade, just like you.
That's awesome.
And did you know that I also am dyslexic?
No.
Yes. And I did not find out, Elton, until I was 46 years old. Imagine going through life
Was it like really hard?
You know what was really hard is I couldn't understand why things were so hard.
In like K through 3rd, everything was like easy enough that it was hard, but I got through it.
Yes.
And then in 4th grade, it was like everything was so hard for everybody. And so that was just like, instead of a slap, that was like a punch.
Yes.
And like I couldn't like recover. And then at the end of the year, I finally realized, oh, that's why this has been so hard for my life, because I have this.
Yes. And you know, I think about it now, and I was able to get through high school just fine. And then I went to a very competitive college.
Which one?
Dartmouth. And and I got there and it was like, oh God.
I can't do this.
I can't do this. And I would skip classes. I would just make it worse. I would pull these all-nighters. I would leave things till the last minute because I was avoiding it. And then you start to feel like there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. If there's something you hate, like you want to do it earlier so you don't have that in your mind, but really what your brain wants you to do is stay away from it as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But then it gets stronger and stronger, and like if you just deal with it right then and there, then it might take you a while and it might be really hard, but at least you did it.
That's
like,
true.
If I have a homework assignment due on Monday and today is Friday, let's say, I would want to do it like maybe tomorrow, not right now, but not on Monday. And we are on the Mel Robbins podcast.
So Elton, how old are you?
10 years old.
What have you learned recently that you wish everyone would know?
If you have an up and then you have a down, you know that you can do ups.